It's Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, and the pattern has exploded. Right now, as I'm recording this, a dangerous storm is slamming California with life-threatening flooding, streets turned into rivers in Long Beach, a ground stop at LAX, and the Sierra Nevada bracing for 8 to 10 feet of snow at the highest peaks this week alone. Snow levels are crashing, and they could drop to 1,500 feet in the Sierra foothills by tonight, and possibly 1,000 feet overnight into Wednesday. Donner Pass along I-80 is expected to close intermittently through midweek. This is the first of 3 storm systems hitting the West Coast in succession, and by the time they're done, some mountain ranges could see 20 feet of snow through the rest of February. Meanwhile, east of the Rockies, record-breaking warmth continues with 70s and 80s from Nebraska to Texas. But that warmth is about to collide with incoming cold. A winter storm bringing heavy snow, ice, and freezing rain is targeting the upper Midwest and Great Lakes this week. Severe weather threatens the Ohio Valley Thursday evening, and a strong late February storm signal is building that could impact the entire eastern half of the country. Let me walk you through all of it. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. The NWS called this week's storms unusually hazardous. They're not exaggerating. The first system hammered Southern California yesterday with heavy rain flooding neighborhoods in Long Beach, San Bernardino, and the greater Los Angeles area. The second wave hits tonight into Wednesday with heavier rainfall expected. The NWS forecasts 2 to 4 inches along the coast and valleys and 4 to 8 inches in the mountains and foothills. Thunderstorms are likely across the LA Basin, coastal Southern California, and the northern Central Valley with hazards including strong winds, downpours, frequent lightning, and even an isolated tornado risk from San Luis Obispo County to San Diego County. The WPC has posted a slight risk for excessive rainfall across central and southern coastal California tonight, and a marginal risk continuing tomorrow. Mudslide risk is elevated across fire scar areas. A winter storm warning is in effect for elevations above 2,000 feet through Thursday evening. Palisades, Tahoe, and Sugar Bowl are looking at over 60 inches of fresh powder by Wednesday. This pattern could deliver close to a month's worth of rain and snow in parts of California in a single week. And the third, even stronger trough arrives this weekend, meaning this isn't ending anytime soon. Before this storm hit, western snowpack was in crisis, about 1/3 of typical mid-February levels. Sierra snowpack had dropped to just 56 to 59% of average. Salt Lake City hasn't seen an inch of snow in 330 days. Grand Junction, Colorado hasn't seen one in 442 days. This storm sequence is exactly what the West needed, but the flooding and travel risks are serious. The Midwest and Great Lakes winter storm, Wednesday through weekend. As the western storms push energy east, a winter storm takes shape across the northern tier. By Wednesday, heavy snow targets North Dakota, northern Minnesota, and far northern Wisconsin up toward Duluth, with accumulations exceeding 6 inches in spots. A wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain extends from portions of Ontario down through western and upstate New York. Upstate New York and Pennsylvania could see up to a 1/4 inch of freezing rain in isolated locations, enough to create hazardous travel and potential power issues. On Thursday, a stronger system with a 989 millibar low centered over central Iowa draws up a sharp dry line and cold front combination. Temperatures ahead of the front will be in the 60s. Once the cold front passes Thursday evening, severe weather becomes possible from Chicago southward through Peoria, Springfield, down to St. Louis, Indianapolis, Evansville, Louisville, and Cincinnati, mainly damaging winds, hail, and isolated tornadoes. On the backside, heavy snow and potential blizzard-like conditions develop across northeast Nebraska, southeast South Dakota, northwest Iowa, and southern Minnesota, where tight isobars combine cold air with gusty winds. Through the weekend, this system pushes into the Great Lakes and Northeast with more snow and the potential for additional freezing rain. Record warmth east of the Rockies. The winter heat wave continues to shatter records. Yesterday, records fell along the I-80 corridor from Nebraska through Iowa into northern Illinois with mid to upper 60s and low 70s. The 80s stretch across Texas. This warmth persists through the week. The Ohio Valley and Midwest see 60s and low 70s Wednesday. The Deep South and Southeast push into the 70s and low 80s Thursday, and records continue falling in the Southeast through Friday. This unseasonable warmth is the fuel that makes the incoming storms so volatile. When 80-degree air collides with an Arctic cold front, you get severe weather, heavy rain, and the kind of temperature crashes that can drop readings 40 degrees in 12 hours. City-by-city predictions. The West Coast and Mountain. West, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, San Diego, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, Boise, Flagstaff, Albuquerque, Denver. LA and Long Beach are flooding right now. Heavier rain tonight into Wednesday with 2 to 4 inches coastal, 4 to 8 inches in mountains. Thunderstorms with tornado risk across Southern California. San Francisco Bay Area has a coastal flood advisory through Tuesday from high astronomical tides plus storm surge. Sacramento gets significant rainfall. San Diego saw heavy rain Monday afternoon and evening. The Sierra gets 8 to 10 feet of snow this week. Donner Pass along I-80 closing intermittently. Snow levels drop to 1,500 feet tonight, possibly 1,000 feet overnight. Seattle and Portland see rain with cascade snow. Salt Lake City and the Wasatch Range finally get heavy mountain snow after 330 days without an inch. Flagstaff, the Four Corners, western Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho all see significant accumulation. Wind gusts in the higher passes of the central and southern Rockies could top 80 mph. Dangerous for travel. Through the rest of February, some ranges could see 20 feet total. Denver and the Front Range pick up snow as energy pushes across the Rockies later this week. Northeast, New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, D.C., Hartford, Providence, Portland, Buffalo. A wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain threatens western and upstate New York by midweek, with up to a quarter inch of ice possible in isolated spots. The weekend brings more snow potential as the Midwest system pushes east into the Great Lakes and Northeast. Upstate New York and northern New England could add a foot or more through combined systems over the next 10 days. Buffalo's lake effect machine stays relentless. For the I-95 corridor, New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, D.C., the pattern keeps you warm for now with temperatures well above average, but the late February storm signal could change that. The European model shows a strong storm by the 28th through March 2nd. The GFS brings it sooner and more amplified. Both suggest heavy snow on the north side, ice in the transition zone, and severe weather to the south. Southeast, Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, Raleigh, Birmingham, Jacksonville, New Orleans. Record warmth through Friday, 70s and low 80s across the region. But the late February pattern brings increasing severe weather risk. The Deep South and Southeast face storm threats from the 16th through the 23rd, with a potentially even stronger system from the 23rd through March 1st, targeting Dixie Alley, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, the Carolinas, and potentially extending into Virginia and Kentucky. The clash between record warmth and incoming cold fronts creates the perfect setup for heavy rain, damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes. Stay weather aware through the end of February and into early March. Midwest and Great Lakes, Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Indianapolis, Columbus, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Louisville. The winter storm. Wednesday through Friday is your headline. Minneapolis, Duluth, and northern Wisconsin see heavy snow. Chicago faces severe weather Thursday evening as the 989 mm low passes through Iowa, damaging winds, hail, and isolated tornadoes possible from Chicago through Springfield to St. Louis, Indianapolis, Evansville, Louisville, and Cincinnati. Northeast Nebraska through southeast South Dakota into northwest Iowa and southern Minnesota see heavy snow with blizzard-like conditions on the backside. Detroit, Cleveland, and Buffalo see wintry mix transitioning to snow through the weekend. Freezing rain across northern lower Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. Records continue falling, 60s and 70s before the cold front arrives. Plains and South Central. Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Omaha, Denver, San Antonio, Little Rock, Memphis. The warmth is extraordinary. 80s across Texas, 70s through the plains. but gusty to high winds and low humidity are creating elevated to critical fire weather conditions across the central and southern plains through Wednesday. After the cold front passes, temperatures crash. The late February pattern brings freezes back to Kansas, Oklahoma, portions of Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Another strong storm system is modeled for the final days of February. The European has it February 28th through March 2nd. The GFS brings it sooner and more dynamic. Either way, expect more heavy rain and potential severe weather across the southern plains and Mississippi Valley as February closes out. The bigger picture: this is the most active stretch of weather America has seen since the January winter storm killed over 150 people and left 1 million without power. The West is getting buried under what could be a month's worth of precipitation in a single week. The East is breaking heat records daily, and the collision between those two air masses is going to keep producing storms well into March. The polar vortex disruption, the largest observed all winter, is fully manifesting at the surface now. East warms, west turns cold, and the boundary between them is where all the action lives. The long-range pattern through early March keeps this volatility locked in. A trough in the west and a ridge in the east means above normal precipitation for the western mountains first, then translating east into the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. The Arctic air stays bottled up in Alaska and northern Canada, but cold fronts will keep dropping south and east, bringing big temperature swings across the lower 48. Every one of those frontal passages is a potential storm. On the northern side, snow and ice. On the southern side, heavy rain and severe weather. This pattern isn't going anywhere. Buckle up and stay weather aware through the end of February and into March. Thanks for watching.